How you doing? My name is George. I am your loan underwriter, your certified mortgage underwriter, your certified credit counselor. And currently, what is an underwriter? An underwriter is a person that approves a loan application. That can be anything for a car, personal loan, student loans, credit cards, a home, etc. You name it. Most of the time, there's somebody behind a desk looking at your credit and other documentations and calculating the income to be able to see if they can give you a loan. Currently, I have underwritten loans for auto loans, RVs, motorcycles, personal loans, lines of credit, homes, home equity line of credit, second mortgages, non-conforming mortgages, which that is something else you don't need to worry about right now. But yes, I've been doing this almost about a decade, and today we're going to be talking about someone that's telling you three secrets on how to get approved through a dealership. This is actually something I have experience in. I worked for a company that approved people through that applied through a dealership for a loan, and they looked at anybody that had bad credit, have been through bankruptcy, or currently even in a bankruptcy, and they helped those people that have been through those particular situations. So I have a really good idea of how that process goes, to what they look for, what the different underwriters look for. So definitely stay tuned. And furthermore, let's go ahead and get started into this video. So I'm going to go ahead and be looking here through my tablet, and the video will be down there. So
since you clicked on this channel, you're in luck, because today I'm going to give you my top 3 secrets. Let's begin. Step 1. You want to always make sure that you know your credit score. Oftentimes we go to the dealership hoping and praying, thinking that we have luck, crossing our fingers and our toes, and expecting for us to just receive an auto loan, not knowing exactly what our credit score is. So my first tip is to make
sure that you know exactly what your credit score is.
You do not.
All right, let's go ahead and digest that first steps that she says. So she is saying, before you go to the dealership, go ahead and know what your credit score is. That is really great to know. I think that's a really great tip. You know where you're at. But with the average person, and I've helped a lot of people with credit, and I know not a lot of people have a full understanding of what credit is. And it's like, so let's say if you go into Credit Karma, which I think is what she mentioned, or even Experian, Equifax, or TransUnion's website, if you're looking at your credit, what is it that you're looking for? That is something that needs to be able to be broken down into, because the thing is, if you know what you're looking for, then you understand your credit more. Yeah, only because you go into Credit Karma or Experian to find what your credit score is doesn't necessarily mean that you're gonna maybe understand what it is. So that's just something that I did want to point out, is that you may get into your credit and see that you have a high score, or maybe you have a low score or a medium score, but do you know why you have that low score? I know on Credit Karma, they do have breakdowns of why they gave you the score that they did in Experian. So there are notifications. So if you're not, I would just play around with the website, and I'll make a video down the road explain how to find that information. But yeah, let's go ahead and continue to the next part of her tip.
I want to go to the dealership and not know what your score is. The reason this is so is because when you have an idea of what your credit score is, it's going to give you a more in-depth of what you may be able to qualify for. So the first tip is to make sure that you pull your Fico scores. What this means is you want to make sure you know your scores from either the Experian website, or you want to go to your Fico scores from the My Fico website. Below, I will make sure that I drop both of these links to knowing where to go to get your Fico scores. Do not go on Credit Karma in hopes, in regards to thinking these are your accurate scores. Credit Karma only gives you Vantage scores, and these will not be the scores that your lender will see once they pull your credit files. So Do not use Credit Karma.
Pause right there. So Vantage scores. That is something that, depending on lender, it depends on lenders to lenders. There's some banks or lenders that lend out money that I've looked at credit, and sometimes they'll pull experience, sometimes they'll pull all three, sometimes they'll just pull one. So what she's saying is a little misleading, just because lenders will look at multiple scores or maybe just one. So yeah, so I was like, that's something due to know. So it's okay for you to check those credit scores from those different channels, but just know potentially that they may check two, may check three, or they just may check one. So just knowing where you're at with each one of those websites, it's never really a bad thing. So let's go and continue.
And go to the dealership thinking these are exactly what your scores is, because Credit Karma could be giving you a lower score or it may give you a higher score. So again, make sure that you know exactly what your credit score is before going to the dealership. Step 2, you want to make sure that you have a bank account open, or if you do not have a bank account, I advise you today to go and open up some type of bank account with your local bank. I prefer to open up bank accounts with credit unions because they will typically go out of the way for you and help you more than your regular bank will. But if you do not have a local credit union, open up a bank account of some kind. You want to make sure that you have a bank account open and that you have transactions going into the bank. So since you're working, I'm hoping since you're going to apply for an auto loan, make sure that you have direct deposits set up going directly to your bank. This look good to the bank because they see where you're actually using your account and that you have money coming in. So if you get paid every week, bi-weekly, or every month, just make sure that you have your check going directly to this account. This is going to be good because they'll see that you do have a source of income coming in. Once you have this set up, you want to then go to your bank and you want to ask them what the qualifications are for you to get approved for an auto loan with that bank. Once they give you the qualifications and you know your credit score is accurate and that you have the source of income to be able to pay for this auto loan, go ahead and apply with your local bank. The reason this is good to apply with your bank is because they will only pull your credit score one time. If you were to go to the dealership to get you an auto loan, every time you go to multiple dealerships, they're going to run your credit score multiple times at each car dealership. This is very important that you know because a lot of people don't know when you go to the dealership to get your credit score ran, they fill out one application with your information. They take that application.
Okay, so that is a lot to take in. She was speaking for a very long time. Okay, so she's talking about bank accounts being a requirement to be approved for a auto loan. For the company that I worked with, the dealerships to approve people for loans, we never required people to have bank accounts. I've searched this. And that is actually a common case that currently some lenders, more on the people that do bad credit, they will require you to have an account. But is it's something that's going to stop you really from getting approved? An initial process? I don't think so. That is just something that an underwriter, let's see if that's the case. So I'm reviewing your credit, I'm going to approve it by seeing you don't have a bank account. I can just put it down as a condition or a stipulation, or STIP is what we call it, which is pretty much just a list of things that the underwriter needs. We can say, okay, before closing out the account, we need to have a checking account opened. And that easy. So it's like, it's not something that's going to stop you from being approved in the initial process. It can maybe throughout the process, down the road after initial approval, but it's not something that's going to go ahead and just say, well, I was like, he has okay credit, we're going to decline him because he doesn't have a bank. That doesn't make logical sense for an underwriter to go ahead and decline somebody. But if it is something that is a requirement, then obviously you'll go ahead and do it. And then currently, what she was talking about Credit Karma and how to just not only rely on that score, which I already went ahead and touched on, but let's go ahead and continue. She's talking about different dealerships when they pull your credit multiple times. So
and they send it to several different banks, hoping that one of those banks will pick your auto loan up. What this means is each time they run your information through the system to multiple banks, it's a hard inquiry on your credit score. If you were to go to one car dealership, for an example, they're going to run your score through different companies. So it's a chance that you can have about 5 inquiries at that one dealership. Just say that's not the company that you actually want the car from. You're just going around seeing what you can get approved for, right? So now you go to the car dealership number 2. Since you are going to a different car dealership, they will also do the same thing as the first dealership done. You'll fill out the application with them, and then they'll send your application and information through multiple lenders as well. Now you've inquired about 10 hard inquiries in one day. This is very, very hard on your credit. Each time you have an inquiry on your credit, it is a hard pull. The thing about a car salesman is they don't care how it affects your credit score. All they want is for you to be able to get approved for some type of car at their dealership. Car salesmen make a commission off of whatever car that you decide. So once they get your application and all the information they need, they'll run your credit as many times as they need in order to get you approved with one of their banks that they go through. So make sure that you do not fall victim to what the car salesman is telling you. If you ask them how many times they're going to run your credit, they'll probably tell you just one time. But they're not actually running your credit one time. They're actually running your credit one time in the system.
All right, let's digest what she went ahead and said. All right, so she talked about multiple inquiries and how they will pull from multiple lenders. That is very accurate. So I'll definitely give that to her. Girl, I'll see you. Good information. Something as a great tip that will help you is, let's see if you went to your dealership, but it's let's say like a franchise dealership. Let's see if it's just like George's dealership, or George's Mercedes dealership, and then George's Porsche dealership. If I'm working with various lenders, what you can actually do is go ahead and just go to the local, the other dealership, and then be able to just go ahead and just say, hey, I applied with your other franchise dealership, the Mercedes one. Didn't like the rates and terms. I want to see about pushing my credit, or not my credit application on here on over to the Porsche. I actually saw a vehicle. So that is something that can go ahead and be possible. So it can go ahead and avoid from you having multiple inquiries on that. And yeah, so it's like, so making sure, that's why I always tell people, if they're going to apply, and even if they have the worst credit, I always recommend to go through a credit union and then the dealership, so then you won't have to go ahead and go through that process of then applying at the next dealership and then the next and the next. So that is also something that you should go ahead. So for me, it's always the credit unions, bank, a financial institution. So a financial institution is like Capital One. They do auto financing and auto refinancing. So that's a financial institution that you can go ahead and go to. So yeah, let's go ahead and continue on this video.
Through multiple lenders. The lenders that they're going through are already just banks. So why not just go to your own bank and go ahead and get that one approval that you need to stop from having so many hard inquiries on your credit within 1 day from multiple dealerships, I advise you to go to your bank and make sure that you can get approved with your bank first. Once you get approved with your bank, guess what? Now you're going to go to step number 3. Once you get approved for your bank, they're going to give you a pre-approval. What this means is they have pre-approved you for a certain amount with a certain interest rate. So on your application, they will let you know you're approved for $30,000 based off your income. You're approved for $50,000 based off your income. The bank that you choose to go to and that you deal with will have this information for you. And guess what? That was only one inquiry that you made for that day. Once you get your pre-approval letter, it'll allow you to know exactly the amount that you can afford for your auto loan. It'll let you know exactly the amount that you will pay back in interest. It is very, very, very important that you know this is the best way to get an auto loan. The reason why is because you're only inquired one hard inquiry for today. That means that you know exactly what amount you can afford when you're going to go to the dealership, so you can have in mind what car you may want, and you can walk into the dealership and actually purchase something without having to hope and pray that you get this loan. So step 3, once you have your pre-approval, now you have the freedom to go and shop at multiple car dealerships without having to wonder if you're going to get approved. Your pre-approval letter from your bank means that they will give you up until that amount of the loan. So long as you stay underneath that amount, you're good with the bank. I like to have a pre-approval because it gives you more.
Okay, I think those are all 3 of her tips. So her secret tips to get you approved to a dealership was check your credit score before you go into the dealership. Make sure you have a checking account. And then the third is the pre-approval of what she said. Does this fall under secrets that will get you approved? No, like this doesn't fall under secrets. Is it tips? I think that's a little bit more better. The title is definitely very misleading because look, let's see if you do all 3 of these. All 3 of these things is not what an underwriter looks for. What an underwriter looks for, so when you apply and go through the process, depending on how the flow of the underwriter is, first we may either start with your credit or we may start with your income. I like to always start with the credit and then look at the collateral and then do the income last once I receive it. But in the credit, so when we're looking through your credit, bad or great credit, we're looking at to see there's so many things. So I'll just give a few of what we look at. So obviously the best one is we want to make sure you're current on all your accounts. Also, how many auto loans have you had? Do you currently have an auto loan? Is it currently past due? When was the last time you had an auto loan? Have you had any inquiries in the last 30 days, which is what she was explaining. Currently, how are your other lines of credit? Are you past due on those? Do you have really high balances? Yeah, so it's like a lot of information that we look through. So once that process is done, we move on to the next step, is the collateral. What kind of car are we looking at? Which is what a collateral means. It's just an asset that's attached to the loan. So is it a Mercedes? Is it a Honda? How old the car is? How many miles it is? We gotta look up the value to see what Kelley Blue Book and NADA states on how much the value of the vehicle is, and then we calculate the income through the ways that we calculate the income. So there's a lot more that goes into approving you for an auto loan, as in this example is what it was. That is just not that simple for you to just do these 3 things and then that it's a secret Like it's not a secret. It's great tips. I'm not gonna knock her for it. Like I think it's really great. I'm happy that you're educating. But what my job is gonna be to be on these reaction videos is gonna go ahead and be to educate the people and just guide them better to what an actual underwriter looks for. Because again, I'm a person that has looked through dozens and thousands of applications to approve someone for an auto loan, so I understand the process and what to look for. But definitely, good job. You know, me is not here trying to throw any hate, trying to discredit her, because that's not really what I'm trying to do. I'm just more trying to re-inform you guys, everyone that's watching the video, is that okay, if you're going to apply for an auto loan, these are steps that you need to do. So there you have it. First video. I'm gonna continue doing these reactions to give you guys a lot more information that is out there that may be incorrect or that needs to be a little bit more into depth. If you want to definitely subscribe, like the video. You gotta at least like the video. You gotta get me up there. You gotta get me through the algorithm. So I for sure like it. If you want to sub, definitely do it. I'm gonna have some more great content. Share with anybody that will enjoy this content, and see you guys next time.